happy to be with you this morning to participate with you in this very important coordination workshop. I believe it is the first workshop which brings you together as ministers in the states and the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. And therefore, it's a breaking ground for all of you. At least, first to know yourselves, because I believe you don't know yourselves. Some of the states are far away from the others. You may know the state minister of parliamentary and legal affairs that is in the state that is neighboring you. But the states that are far from you, you don't. So this is an opportunity for you to know who is in northern Bahar Ghazal and who is in eastern Equatoria, or who is in western Equatoria and who is in Upper Nile State in that X form. And it's important for you to share information. I believe when the 3 days are gone, you will know one another and you will exchange your coordinates, your telephones, so that you are in contact. Because sometimes you may ask a question of another minister, from another minister who is far away. I do not know how many of you who have held this ministry before. I'm aware before that we used to have State Minister of Parliamentary Affairs. But now, you are holding two portfolios, the State Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, and at the same time, the State Minister for Legal Affairs. It would have been good if the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs was participating with you, because some of the functions that are done by the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs will be done by you, in addition to the functions of the Parliamentary Affairs. The one paper which is distributed to you Thank you. The paper which outlines the mandate of the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs is good for the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, because your mandate within your state is more or less similar when you are handling parliamentary affairs. You will be the lead person in Parliament on behalf of the executive, on behalf of the government, the executive. So you will do most of the functions that are done by the national minister in your geographical confines or in your state. So this will be clear to you today. But on the legal affairs, you have the function that now you are also more or less the advisor of the government, legal advisor of the government. And because your parliament produces laws, at the same time you are the attorney of the government. And it becomes complicated because some of you may not have a legal background. I don't know how many among you, the 10 of you, have a legal background, but it shouldn't be a big concern. But you'll have to make sure your ministry, the Department of Legal Affairs, becomes very strong so that they give you correct legal advice, which you will be the frontage on behalf of the government to articulate. Well, because the ministries became many, 17, there was also debate on should we split these two functions, parliamentary and legal affairs, should we split them? But in the end, the consensus was we keep them as one. We keep them as one and let's see how the situation unfolds. Because there are two important functions that you must discharge as a minister. So hopefully this afternoon I will meet the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, and I hope he will have a visit to you here so that he can give you what he thinks how they would support you, because you need their support. You need their support. There was a statement that this agreement says there will be devolution of power and resources. One of the aspects of the devolution of power and resources would also be on this aspect, because we're working on judicial reform, and it will even law review. Maybe even if you look at our constitution, they talk of state judiciary, state judiciary, which means state attorney also. So powers will be devolved. It is good to discuss this. What do you think during this transition? What powers should be devolved to the states? I know when you go and discuss in your state with the commissioners, the same issue would be raised. What powers should be devolved also to the counties? Because we're moving towards establishing a federal system in the country. And therefore, the institutions that we build, we must make sure that the institutions are strong institutions. See, they're strong institutions. And in a federal system, as many of you know, they say the three levels work in parallel. They work in parallel. Then it is not delegation of powers. We can be retracted by the center
or by the state, if it is between the state and the county. So I want you to take interest in the two aspects, the two functions that you will be discharging as Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Legal Affairs. So that is important. The National Minister has discussed with you the challenges that they are facing at the national level. And it is anchored on budget resources. The budget is small, the budget is inadequate. I believe this is also going to affect you. It's going to affect you. Some would think, oh, the service you deliver, will require a small budget. But since you are the key person in Parliament, you also have to discuss it with legislators and with your colleagues. To me, you are starting from a very weak position. For her, at least she inherited a building, she inherited staff that are qualified, but for many of you, you might not have those. You might not have those. You might not have even the premises to start from, no building. But they say, okay, we rent them space. In a short time, you'll find the space not adequate. You will also find your staff not qualified, you know. So you'll have to build their capacity. And therefore it is important for you to reach out to others, to reach out to the UN system, to reach out to the NGOs. If she did not reach out to UNMIS, Guy is with us here representing UNMIS, this workshop would have not been held, I believe. I don't think the government has paid a single cent on it, you know. So she had to reach out to those who see the importance of it. Not that the government doesn't see it, but then conflicting priorities, liquidity not being there. So I hope you will take her example, keep making friends with the international organizations that are with us. I think most of these international organizations have offices in your states. So this is important. Don't rely only on the government budget. Go further to reach out to others so that you strengthen the capacity of your staff and you enhance your own work. My last point which I want to make is on democracy. Part of the mandate of the ministry, multi-party democracy. I know, I'm aware some of you, as ministers, you all don't come from one party, let me say. Some of you come from Gono, some of you come from Mayo, some from SWA, maybe some from OPP. But then, if you come from Gono, then you will be representing the majority party, or you are coming from the majority party. But this is a government of national unity. Any of you represents that government, a government of national unity. That is why in the choice of, or in the allocation of these positions, we saw it irrelevant to say who has the majority in parliament, who has the majority in the executive. So that is, that's why some of you come from Mayo, some of you come from SWA and OPP. If it were not of the fact that it is a government of national unity, then the majority party would say the Ministry of Parliamentary and Legal Affairs would come from them. Because then the government, the leading party would say, yeah, they will say what we say in the executive. But because, as I repeat, it is government of national unity, any of you can represent that government in parliament and can also provide the necessary legal advice and become the legal advisor of that government. This ministry has a department which we are trying to convert into an institute. The Council of Ministers has already done that. It has made a resolution to establish an institute for democracy and governance, so that that institute can be resourced and can be more effective than being a department. And it could be accessed by the states independently of the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. It could also be accessed by counties independently of the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. It could also be accessed by political parties that want to have discussions without necessarily referring to the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. I say we still have no resources. We still have no resources, but it is a very important institution that should be established. And actually, the sooner it is established, the better for our march to democracy. And this is when we can train. Even it can be effective in introducing democratic principles in our own school curriculums. Because democracy is, we need to start from childhood, that others should listen to the view of the other. We should be tolerant to an opposite view. And if the principles are put into our curriculum, then we will create a peaceful, democratic society. Currently, your minister will be asked, please advocate for that while you are in government, while you are in parliament, discussing with the legislators. But we hope that institution comes to light soon. Is one of the institutions that are budgeted for, but very small budget. We will compete with you in looking for resources to budget, to support it among the international community and all that, but it is your institution. I was asked to come and open before I do that, wherever I go in government functions, I carry the book, the agreement, I carry this constitution. The agreement has been incorporated partially into the constitution. I saw a print, don't know who printed, whether it was, but I think it must be Unimis who printed this one, isn't it? Yeah. This is the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 6, which incorporates the agreement into the Constitution, this Constitution. There is Amendment Bill number 7, just about 2 pages, which reverted the country into 10 states, and the 3 administrative areas. It's good you lay your hands. You have the Constitution, you have the Amendment Bill number 6, get number 7. Amendment Bill number 8 and number 9 will be going to Parliament soon. They have been passed by the Council of Ministers. When this is over, when you get the 4 amendments, which would include 8 and 9, you will be asked to initiate a process of incorporating the agreement into your state constitution, because each of the states has a constitution. The sooner you do this, the better for your state. Currently, the appointments are being made by the president. But once you incorporate the agreement into your constitutions and to be in conformity with all what is done at the national level, the powers that belong to the state will immediately revert to you automatically. Then the governor can do the appointments of the ministers, the commissioners, per the amended constitution of your state. I know only one state I am informed to have started the process of incorporating the agreement into the state, and it is Central Equatoria. I do not know at what stage have they reached now. I hope they are aware that 2 amendments to the Constitution are still pending, and when they come out, they will be sent to you. But the other states, you should now start thinking of forming a committee that will initiate discussion on incorporating the agreement into your constitution. The other also, we have passed at the level of the Council of Ministers the bill for permanent constitutional making. That bill, the Ministry of Justice is working to send it to Parliament so that the process for constitutional making is started. It will take about 21 months according to the schedules that I've done or the timelines made. We hope once Parliament passes this bill, many committees will come to you in the states consulting the citizens on their views. We would like you as Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Ministry of Parliamentary and Legal Affairs to take interest also in this, because it's important. The people are with you. The people are with you. Therefore, you have to take interest. Because once the Constitution is done, you might be told to rush also, incorporate or work on your Constitution at the state level. And we will be competing with time, because we want to get to the elections. We want to get to the elections. The nation must have a permanent constitution. The states must have constitutions, not transitional ones. So we have a lot to do. And that's why I would advise the Minister of Justice, so that you can come and ask him questions. What do we do? Okay, when the permanent constitution comes, where is states that have constitutions, what is expected of us? Are we going to do this? What time do we have before we get to the elections? Because the governors will be, although using the national constitution, but the state constitutions will also govern how the states, how the elections will be conducted, But obviously we'll have a national electoral law reviewed. It will be reviewed for the whole nation. But we hope by that time the nation has a constitution, the states have constitutions in it. Difficult, because it's also, it needs money. But these are challenges we must have to face in it. Just to recap, or just to, well, I don't need to recap because time is running. I hope the Minister of Peace also visits you. Although he had called, I think we had a workshop with the state ministers for peace before, isn't it? Yeah, they were in this hall. But his appearance is also good, because these are key ministries within the peace agreement. Well, by this short statement, I would want to declare this workshop open and wish you the best in your deliberations.